All right, we continue now with FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino. Dan, sorry about that technical error. All right, I was asking you, you mentioned the drone threat. You mentioned China. I mentioned we have known terrorists, known assassination squads, cartel members, gang members, drug dealers in the country. So it's worse than you thought, is what you're explaining to us. And that means you have to prioritize your manpower, including 1 million man-hours spent on immigration and finding these unvetted illegals that have these horrific track records. You know, let me scroll, for example. I scrolled this during the campaign. Yeah. Americans that were murdered, raped, and victims of violent crime. No Democrat ever, cared. They told us the border was secure and the border was closed. I'll scroll the names. Explain how you prioritize that.
Yeah, it's manpower triage has become Cash and I our #1 job. The FBI portfolio responsibility, Sean, hasn't changed. The counter-terror mission, in other words, we can't have New York, D.C., or L.A. go boom. Obviously, we wake up every day, Cash and I in that briefing. That's always going to be priority #1. But kind of co-equal priorities right now underneath that, the massive cyber threat, the counterintelligence threat. You just accurately indicated the number of people that were that flooded in through the southern border and some through the northern border as well. There are people here, let's be very clear, who want to do bad things. I think that's fairly obvious. We have our FBI teams out there at 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. They can tell you, and they're happy to do it, out there working with HSI, ERO, and removing these people from the country while still preventing a terror attack, investigating terror attacks that do happen. And I'm going to add another thing, Sean. We're not the Federal Bureau of freaking word games anymore, okay? It's the Federal Bureau of Investigation. When some guy shows up at a scene, and I'm getting an intel stream from our information center that indicates he threw an incendiary device, okay, while screaming very specific words with multiple witnesses and video, we're damn well going to investigate it, listen to me, investigate it as targeted violence and a terror attack. You don't like it, you don't have to follow my official Twitter. But I saw a whole bunch of people losing their minds. What the hell you want us to investigate it as? A freaking grand larceny auto? We're investigating it as a terror attack because that's the information we have. And we're not going to start playing euphemisms games and word games anymore. We're not doing it. We're the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and we're going to investigate properly.
For those, and it's kind of a lightning round because I don't have enough time unless I gave you the whole hour, and it would be worth doing it. But for people like me, I'm one of them that wants answers to the Epstein file issue and what happened. Yeah. And I never knew there were 10,000 hours of tapes. And was it suicide? You said there's a tape, or JFK, RFK, MLK files. All of that is still coming, correct?
Yeah, JFK, we're done. The FBI's equities in that, we've already released that. RFK, I got to check back on that one. There is more coming on the Epstein files. Listen, I know this is a hot potato for folks. I totally understand. My comments were clear. I'm not paid for my opinions anymore. I work for the taxpayer now. I'm paid on evidence. That's it. The evidence we have in our files clearly indicates that it was, in fact, a suicide. We do have video. It's not the greatest video in the world. I don't want to set expectations on fire. However, the video does show in that specific block that he goes in, made a phone call. You'll see 12 hours of guards going to basically check on him, come back. You'll see no one really comes out in that bay, in that area, than him. There's no one in there. When you combine that with the other evidence we will be releasing in the coming weeks, we're still finalizing some of the products. I think it's pretty clear. However, as I've clearly indicated in some of my tweets on my official account, listen, investigations, if new information surfaces in the future on any of these cases, we're always open. I'm just telling you there's nothing there in the file at all that indicates anything other than, in fact, a suicide.
Let me ask you about, and again, a lightning round. Let's go quickly. COVID origins. Are we going to find out information that the government lied to us?
You're damn right you are. We're all over that. The minute I got in there in that job, I said, hey,
they
get everybody in
purposely lied to the American people. They purposely lied to us.
Yeah, listen, that's the one I'm the most optimistic about. I was pretty clear on my social media account that I ordered that case immediately to be looked into again. We have a great investigator on it. And I think we should see action on that one shortly.
Let me ask you about this. The prior FBI director, or directors, let's say, we saw a double standard when it came to the Mar-a-Lago raid and top secret and classified information, Donald Trump versus Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton. Did you see any evidence? Has any evidence emerged that former directors may have tried to cover their tracks? And you did mention the other day that maybe traps were being set for you and Cash.
Well, I'll address you addressed the Mar-a-Lago raid. Action was taken on that because it involves human resources issues. I can't make specific comments, but anyone telling you we didn't action that is lying to you, absolutely lying to you. I assure you, we did.
Was it political, in other words? Was that a political decision?
Sean, because it involves some specific HR actions we had to take. I don't want to get into specifics on that, but I'll leave it at this. We found some really troubling items in there that we actioned immediately, to say the least. Also,
so is it fair to say that a double standard was applied in that case in terms of top secret classified information? Is that fair?
Well, I think that's fairly clear when you look at how two cases were handled there. And that's why we did a scrub immediately of holdings. And like I said, we had to take action on that immediately. And there was another case. You brought up another case. I went, you brought up the other directors. Comey, as a matter of fact, the guy who has a lot to say, ironically, about me and Cash, and that's fine. He's allowed an opinion. He is a free American citizen like anyone else. But we found items. I addressed this on Fox and Friends, and I can go into a little bit more detail. But we found things. We found documents that were not where they should have been. And they were not good, flattering documents for Jim Comey. So the hubris displayed from a man like Jim Comey, who disgraced the FBI numerous times with his role in Crossfire Hurricane and other abominations, it's just kind of stunning that he continues to attack our leadership when we have to clean up the mess Jim Comey created as we continue to find stuff from his era and vintage.
Well, he signed 3 of the 4 FISA warrants that were all based. The bulk of information presented to the FISA court was the dirty Russian disinformation dossier that Hillary Clinton paid for. Between that and the origins of Crossfire Hurricane, are you finding evidence that they knew damn well that that was false and that they did it for political reason, that in fact the FBI, what is supposed to be the world's premier law enforcement agency, was politicized and weaponized?
I think of all the troubling things I've seen so far on the reform agenda, the Crossfire Hurricane documents and what we found are those. Now, again, I've seen some commentary because I enjoy the feedback. I do. I like to hear. And people are wondering, where are the documents? Well, the documents are coming out. The problem with the documents coming out, and Director Patel has said this multiple times, it is a rolling production of Crossfire Hurricane documents. Well, you may ask, fair enough, why the hell is it rolling? Get it all out. Because we don't have it all. Yeah. Well, why don't you have it all? Because nobody gave it to us all. Well, why didn't they do that? Exactly. We're finding stuff. We have a lot of good people working on it, I promise you. But the bad people kind of knew what they were doing. So the rolling production is rolling for a reason. As soon as we find this stuff, and other intelligence agencies have some equities in it too, and we can clear that through the process, we're getting it out. Members of Congress and the U.S. Senate that have reached out, we're getting them the stuff as soon as it comes in. And yes, one of the specific documents I read indicates to me that there was a large degree of malfeasance here. We're not just talking misfeasance.
Let me ask you about, are you going to be looking into, Cash and Pam, any potential collusion between the DOJ, Letitia James, the novel legal theory of Alvin Bragg or Nathan Wade or Fani Willis and the DOJ? Is that something? Has anything come up? Is there any way to determine whether or not evidence was destroyed in any of these cases?
Well, there's always a way to determine that. I don't want to comment on that specific case right now for a reason. I don't want to get ahead of the Department of Justice on that. But I want to say this. The FBI obviously has the public corruption portfolio. And yes, if you are a corrupt politician out there, if you are engaged in behavior, you know what you're doing, we're going to find you. I promise. No one is going to get off. The days of selecting and putting your partisan bias on and taking care of your friends, those days are over. You know what, Sean? I don't have any friends. I don't want any friends. Well, maybe outside of you and a couple of. I don't care. I didn't come here for the money. I didn't come here to make. I know.
No, you didn't go there for the money. I can tell people that for sure.
No, I didn't come here to make friends. I don't give a damn about friends. I don't have any friends. I don't want any friends. I got my wife. I got you, and I got a small crew of people. So I don't need any friends. But if you're
want a friend in D.C., get a dog.
We're coming for you.
That'll help.
Yeah, exactly. You want a friend in D.C., right? Go get a Labradoodle like I have, because there are no friends in D.C. You've been doing this, 30 years? There are no friends here.
Let me ask you this. White House cocaine, Dobbs decision, traditional Catholics, peaceful abortion protesters, treatment of parents at school board meetings. I mean, Dan, I mean, we covered this extensively. When you were in the media, you covered it extensively. All seem, on the surface, to be extreme abuses of power. Is this something we will get answers to?
Yeah, I'm on that. I put that out in my account as well. Yeah, we're looking into that. The pipe bomb case, which immediately, again, day one, I don't mean that figuratively. I mean, literally day one, after I swore in, I said, what do we got? What do we got? I said, get me a team. I want to hear everything. Get them in, brief. I want to see the whole thing. Pipe bomb case, Dobbs. We've gotten a lot of good information on the. It was a serious case. You had threats made to Supreme Court justices. You know, I get a kick out of it on social media when people are like, oh, this case isn't a big deal. I don't care. Well, I don't care that you don't care. I care. This caused a big, huge. There may have been a threat case for a Supreme Court justice. There is potential obstruction here. This is an enormous case. Cocaine in the White House. Again, I'm not interested in. You don't care what a hazardous substance made its way into the White House. We didn't know what it was, and we don't seem to have answers as to what it was. Well, we're going to get them. I've got a great team on it. That was another case. I've been very clear on this. We're taking another look at this stuff. The public, Sean, needs to trust us again. There's a lot of work to be done. I'm under no illusions that in the now 3 months I've been here, all of a sudden, oh, great, Dan Bongino's in charge. We trust you again. That's BS. Trust is for fools. Results matter. I'm not asking you to trust me.
Trust,
I can't
but
say
verify.
Enough. Results. Yeah, verify is all that matters. You don't have to trust me. I don't want anybody's trust.
All right, let me ask a last question then. Because I've known you for so long, and I've talked to too many people, not just you, many people, many sources, many people that know a lot more than I know, and that they're all shocked at the threat level on so many different levels. Maybe last word to manage expectations of people, prioritizing safety, and a promise that everything we discussed and brought up tonight, we're going to, including cocaine in the White House and peacefully protesting pro-life people and traditional Catholics and et cetera, that also will be gotten to. Epstein will be gotten to, MLK, RFK, JFK, all of that. But you need, where will we be a year from now?
Yeah, someone asked me that on a special agent in charge conference call the other day. Where do you envision the FBI a year from now? Well, I'll tell you. I'll give you that answer. A year from now, I want the FBI to have played a key role in the deportation of hundreds of thousands of violent criminals from the United States. I want the FBI to have thwarted multiple terror plots that we can't tell you about every day. Sean, every morning we do a briefing, Cash and I, with our ops directors. We can't sit here and take a victory lap every time something doesn't go boom. Matter of fact, we almost never do it because we can't. I want to make sure that our counterintelligence operation is top-notch, that the ever-present threat of the Chinese Communist Party infiltrating our systems, cyber spying on us, that by the end of the year we've made significant progress. I want to be sure the drone threat, that we've taken action on it, not just talked about it. We're getting money, assets, and teams in place. And I want to be sure we can look back to the American people and say, look, with President Trump's leadership, Attorney General Bondi and Director Patel, the murder rate is at a historic low. Crime rates have gone down. Okay. The border is sealed, and your FBI took a part in that.
And then we'll also get to the bottom of these other issues, and that's your pledge, Cash's pledge, and Pam's pledge, then the President's pledge. People want to know that. I'm looking you in
the eye. Listen to me through this camera. You have my word. We are on it.
Okay.
We are on it.
All right, Dan Bongino, you've been very generous with your time, and your patience has been great. We appreciate it. Thank you. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.